I'm on mute. I'm on mute. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Lapeef Network. I am, your host, Chaotic Truth. Guys, I have an incredible guest. Her name is Nzinga Harris. Guys, please check out her channel if you can. She is a conservative like I am. She has a great channel. Nzinga, would you like to introduce yourself before we get into the topic? And salute to you. Yep.
Sure. I'm a content creator, brand new one. Just started the channel maybe last month. And I do Pro 2A content. Can't shoot right now, so there's no cool range day photos or videos yet because I'm a little over 6 months pregnant, but that is to come. So right now we'll just philosophize on the channel.
Awesome. Now for the ignoramuses amongst us, could you please explain what 2A is, Nzinga?
Oh, Constitution, our Second Amendment rights to bear and to have firearms.
Oh, absolutely. And to lest, we have individuals who watch from other places around the world, places that do not have the freedoms that we have. Could you explain why it is important for your right to bear arms?
Well, I think the first thing the founding fathers had in mind was a tyrannical government, considering what they were involved in. But it's to really deter a tyrannical government from enforcing things on the people that they shouldn't. It's a God-given right, a natural right, something that people, a person, a government should not be able to take away. And it's obviously for our self-defense too.
Absolutely. I always thought that the founding fathers, when I was a kid, allowed for the right to bear arms to fight off animals in the wilderness, to shoot and kill them. But, nevertheless, I see where you're coming from. And Nzinga, to be brief, I know you only have an hour, and I'm so glad that you are here. Guys, please get the likes up. Please sub to the channel. Guys, as you already know, I always send out positivity to you all. I send out peace and posterity to you all. Guys, put a thumbs up in the chat if you're going to go over to Nzinga's page and sub to her. Guys, the other day in St. Louis, there was another school shooting, guys. 3 dead, 7 injured. It says here that the gunman entered Central Visual and Performing Arts High School shortly after 9 a.m. Monday. The doors of the school building were locked, and it was not immediately clear how the suspect entered. Witnesses say lives were saved after the gunman's weapon jammed mid-attack. St. Louis Public Schools say police quickly stopped the gunman. The suspect, identified by police as a 19-year-old former student, exchanged gunfire with police and later succumbed. For all of you ignoramuses who don't know what succumb means, died to his injuries. His motive for the attack at the school of about 400 students was unclear. I know what it was. He's an incel. A teenage girl was pronounced dead inside the school, while one woman died in the hospital. Police told the local media. The 7 injured, 3 girls and 4 boys, all had non-life-threatening injuries. According to local media, students were running out of the school when officers arrived and said that the attacker had a gun. He said 7 security workers on site had acted quickly to notify other staff and contact the police. The gunman was found to be carrying hundreds of bullets that were sorted into nearly a dozen high-capacity magazines. This is heartbreaking, or this is a heartbreaking day for us all. FBI agents are helping the investigation. Raven Terry said, we just ran real fast, and we were just crying, all shaken up. This obviously is a student. Tania Golston, 16, told the St. Louis Post-Dispatch newspaper that the gunman had entered the school and tried to shoot her. She says she overheard the attacker saying, "I'm tired of this damn school." He's 19 years old, and he's a former student, by the way. Police said that the gunman graduated last year from the school and had no history of criminal behavior. One of the victims was identified by a family as a health teacher, Jean Kutska. Kutska, 61, had taught at the school since 2008, according to an online biography, and was a grandmother of 7. My mom loves kids. Her daughter, Abigail Kutska, told the Post-Dispatch, added that she had died protecting her students. That's pretty damn honorable. Those injured are said to be suffering from gunshot wounds, shrapnel injuries, and cardiac arrest. Excuse me. Our children shouldn't have to experience this, the mayor of St. Louis said. They shouldn't have to go through active shooter drills in case something happens. And unfortunately, that happened today. Data from the Education Week outlet show that there have been at least 35 school shootings in which at least one person was killed or injured so far this year. Earlier on Monday, a teenager in Michigan pleaded guilty to 24 charges, including terrorism and first-degree murder, after a rampage at his high school last November. Nzinga, you are a 2A advocate. I know you love your guns. I know you love your country. But Nzinga, this is getting out of hand. And in my opinion, I think a lot of people should have to go through a rigorous process to obtain weapons. And I know that this kid may not have had a criminal history, but I know that his parents knew that there was something's wrong with him. Sounds like an incel to me. Sounds like he's in his basement, whacking off, watching YouTube all day. And he's like most kids nowadays. They lack a lot of social skills, etc. But what say you? What say you about the incident and what I said? And salute to you again. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, first of all, so sorry to the parents, the school, the community. Very, very sucky situation, and I feel for you. And I also want to commend the police officers. I think the call happened, like, we have an active gunman. They were there within 4 minutes. Police officers who were not on duty showed up with T-shirts, jeans, and bulletproof vests. The SWAT team acted. They went all out, and they did a really, really good job of making sure that this dude did not get to do what he wanted to do. He had about 600 rounds of it was an AR, so it was probably 226 or 5.56 223. He had almost a dozen 30-round magazines. He was ready to do some damage, and they stopped it. So I want to commend them. But also, I want to talk about the gunman, because there's a few things that I read from different articles that I found interesting. Sources say he left a note behind in his car, and with a list of school shootings from across the country and names of the shooters and death tolls from each of the incidents. In the note, he said he wanted to be the next national school shooter. So in that same note, he said, quote, and this is verbatim, he can't write clearly and didn't do the grammar thing very well, but he said, "I don't have any friends. I don't have any family. I've never had a girlfriend. I never had a social life. I've been an isolated loner my entire this was the perfect storm for a mass shooting." That this was what he wrote. He was an incel, and there was certainly something wrong with him. This reminded me of the Parkland shooting, so I had to go back and refresh my memory. That guy also showed behavior that said he should not have had a gun legally. The FBI was called, a tip line was called, and the FBI did nothing. And I didn't know this, but the families of the victims of the Parkland shooting won $125 million or something like that. They sued the FBI because they did nothing. So, yeah. So clearly someone dropped the ball here. I haven't seen anything about his parents. They said that they were going into his house getting his computer and all that jazz, sifting through his social media. He didn't really have a huge social media presence. And there was a woman that lived there. I'm wondering if daddy was around as well. But this is a tragedy. And I think those details do matter. He also tried to buy a gun at a gun show. I've bought guns at gun shows. They do the background check. They do all of that. You have, if you're buying a pistol, at least in my state, you have, if you don't have your concealed carry license, you have to have a pistol purchase permit. So then the sheriff does the background check on you as well. So for some reason, the article did not say he was turned away from buying a gun at that gun show. So he bought it privately, which means somebody probably sold something out of their trunk or from their own home arsenal. I don't know. But those details do matter, and his motive does matter because this seems to be a trend. You're muted.
You do believe in some sort of checks, right, to purchase firearms, correct?
Say it again.
You do believe in like a certain tier in terms of checks, in terms of requirements to purchase firearms for individuals at that age, correct?
Yes, I don't want universal background checks because that's just a registry and that's unconstitutional. But we already have the background checks, and it seems like we need more details. But just from what I have right now, it seems like something didn't go right, probably with the background check there in the gun show.
And Zinga, I'm a little bit older than you, and I'm not gonna pretend like back in the day was perfect.
Right.
But when I was a kid in the '90s, we had only heard of one school shooting, which was Columbine.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the '90s, there were no school shootings. There were no mass shootings every weekend. There is a problem in this country.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, now you're about to be a parent. I'm not a parent, but I've done videos on this. In my opinion, I think that the parents should be held liable if your child does something this egregious. For example, in Buffalo, I think that the fate of that boy should also be equal. I'm sorry, the fate of that boy should be the same fate for the parents, life imprisonment, because you knew something was up with that boy. When I was a kid, and excuse me, in the '90s, we were pursuing coochie. We were pursuing, we hung out, we bonded with each other. You couldn't be you couldn't be in the house when I was a kid growing up. Your mom, dad say, "What you doing in the house?"
Yeah.
As long and in high school, look, my mom and dad said, as long as you come home at 10 and let us know where you're at, you can be out to 10:30 whenever there's a curfew. I mean, as long as you got your work done, etc. These kids don't do that anymore. And me being a former teacher, I could tell you these kids, they lack social skills. Now, mind you, I didn't even read the article. What you're reading, I didn't know anything about this boy, and this is the reason why. I knew you were going to come with excellent information, and you said everything that I said in my little monologue. That boy was a damn incel. He got no coochie, no girlfriend. I mean, come on, 19, no girlfriends. Come on, man. Parents are going to have to say, hey, man, why don't you get out there and go somewhere and meet somebody, man? But that's just me. So do you think that the parents should be liable moving forward? Keep it real.
That's tough. That's tough for me to say. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could be more definitive. I don't know. I do know that something's got to give here with parenting. Across the board, parenting is sucking in this nation. They stick their kid in school and then hope that the school parents their children. I'll give you an example. I went to public school up until 5th grade, and then the small church that my mom joined started a school. And so it was like 20 of us kids. We all hated it because I thought I was going to be cool in 6th grade in public school. Okay. And one of the rules that school had was you're not going to drop your kid off and have nothing to do with their behavioral development. Yeah. That needs, I don't know if public schools can do that. I don't know if they have the manpower. I don't know if they have the time to do that, but it should be kind of innate in a parent is I have to watch my child's behavior.
Yeah,
My husband, he's a very high, he's going to hate me for saying this, but he's a very high IQ individual.
I know.
He's
I
very
talked to him.
Yes, he's very smart and he likes to pontificate. He's one of those people that gets lost in their thoughts and tries to solve the world's problems. He's just one of those kids. He was very sweet kid, very nice kid, and kind of got picked on a little bit until he finally learned to fight back. But his mom didn't let him get weird. He's told me stories how his mom told him, "Don't slouch. You're tall. Tall people want to slouch." She didn't let her child become a weird incel and stay in the room playing on computers all day. Parents need to step up and take responsibility for how their children turn out. And we're seeing this across the board. I mean, we can. This is off topic, but we can even look at the transgender movement in children. It's just you just go along to get along, and then you create this adult that isn't a good functioning human being in society.
Excuse me. Wow. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Video games, streaming services, the enormous amount of websites to go to. The kid in Buffalo, weird, small town. I mean, the idea that he thought that blacks are gonna take over. I mean, now this kid is so stupid. The degenerate had to drive 3.5 hours to find some Negroes.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how stupid that is.
Yeah.
So all logic goes out the window, all reasoning goes out the window because he's radicalized himself so much online to believe in some sort of racist nonsense. And he committed a horrific act. And you mean to tell me that these parents, and I did a video about them, and I hope they heard everything that I said. You mean to tell me that you didn't know that boy, you didn't bond with him, you weren't talking to him? What was this boy doing to radicalize himself to believe that whites are being taken over by blacks and there's a big grand conspiracy with blacks? What are you talking about? But this can, hey, and listen. You ever been online in Zynga and we're older, but you ever been online and you could be watching, I don't know, a video from 20 years ago. Oh, I remember watching this video. The next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. in the morning and you're watching 9/11 conspiracy theories. Like, damn, maybe the towers didn't fall. So it can happen even to the most highly intelligent amongst us.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta turn the computers off, parents. Go ahead and say, I don't want to talk your head off. Go ahead.
No, I've talked about this with my husband about the iPad situation where kids just get handed an iPad. You remember in church we used to get coloring books, and now the kids get iPads. And I understand that to a degree they need to learn technology because you don't want them to be dumb as a box of rocks by the time they get older and they have to go in the workforce. I get that, but you can't let technology raise your children. Everyone wants to outsource everything from their self-defense to how their kids are raised. And I'm not really sure where that's coming from. I guess it's just straight laziness, but I agree with you. It's they outsource the parenting to the schools, hoping that the teachers will get through to them. They outsource their parenting to video games. I mean, this guy in St. Louis, he had a map of the school. I don't know what kind of map it was. I don't know if he just drew it out of memory. He left it in the car. So he's not a very high IQ individual, it sounds like. And he had this whole thing planned out of how he was going to kill all these kids and teachers. That sounds like a video game situation to me. That sounds like Call of Duty. So parents, they got to step it up and figure it out. And then also stop having children out of wedlock. Women choose, like, I don't understand this.
He was an out of wedlock child. I didn't know that.
I don't know either. But a lot of these kids are. The Parkland shooter, I don't think his dad was in his life. A lot of these incels who go and decide to shoot up a school to get famous because they can't get a girlfriend or whatever, most of them don't have their fathers in their life. And women, you got to step it up and choose better. I saw this thing on Twitter where the lady was like, she said, "I wish we could choose our baby's fathers." Like, that's how dumb people are right now and low IQ.
Do you believe that media has a lot to play in these copycats?
Hmm.
Before you answer that question, and Zinga, do you know that, for example, church bombings, black church bombings, were at an all-time high in the 90s? Now, I want to do a report on, I want to do a story on this because I believe that in the 90s, the internet became more popular. You had more cable networks, you had all this, you had more media, you had more news outlets. I think that the media was creating a situation where they were sensationalizing these, maybe a church burning, and we don't really know how they burnt. And I think that you probably had copycats who probably really were racist and said, "I'm going to do that too." And then if you look at it, if you look at the stats, I'm telling you, you have more church bombings in the 90s. And I haven't done the research on it just yet, but I would bet if you go back in time and look at the media reports, I bet the media was always talking about church bombings. So just like with school shootings, I think the school shootings, the high rates of it is because of the media it just keeps pumping it in your head. Just like with George Floyd, you have a lot of blacks who think that they're going to get pulled over and killed because of
Hmm.
George Floyd, because
Hmm.
the media kept showing it, kept showing it. Go ahead.
No, I think you're right. I was on Instagram maybe last year, or the year before, and this girl I used to hang out with, she posted something about like if they tell what they think, meaning white people, they get applauded. When we say our opinion, we get killed. She did it on Instagram, and she was sharing her opinion on Instagram, and she was saying that she couldn't speak out against evil on Instagram. And I said, "You're talking on Instagram and you're still alive. What are you talking about?" She was drinking the media Kool-Aid. I think you're onto something here with the media, because I tell you this, I know they don't care about these kids being killed in schools and teachers, because then people that really care find real solutions, and they always go straight to gun control. They don't want armed people in the schools, even though 7 security guards, I don't think they're armed. 7 security guards sounded the alarm to make sure that all the kids knew to lock those classroom doors, and it probably saved hundreds of lives, or I don't know about hundreds, we'll say a ton of lives,
It's a
considering the
possible.
amount of rounds he had.
Mm,
Um, so they don't want to find real solutions, but they'll tout it over and over and over again. They go to the visuals, and they record people saying, we gotta do something. Something's got to be
right.
done. We got to get these guns off the street. So let's say you're an incel, you're playing your video games, you just got done whacking it, like you said, and you're looking at the news and you've never been anything your entire life. Your family
Yeah,
doesn't care about you. Your teachers always thought you were stupid and never gave you the time of day. No girls ever looked at you twice. No, none of the dudes wanted to be your homeboy. And then you're seeing the Parkland shooter get all of this attention that you've
yeah,
never gotten. I mean, in a deranged mind, that can be kind of sexy.
yeah. You normalize it. You
Mhm.
normalize the actual act. You normalize the thought, and then that
Mhm.
thought becomes, okay, I'm going to actually do this.
Yeah, I mean, he
Yeah,
said this was the perfect storm for a mass shooting. He spoke in past tense too, like he'd already done it. Um, so it's like, why is that the answer? Why not go take boxing classes or go exercise, join the gym and get swole? Like
because
that's what normal people do. He said this is a
yeah,
perfect storm for a mass shooting. Why, of all the things, a mass shooting? Could it be because of what he sees on TV and social media? I don't know.
well, and Zinga, I have to say this, man. We are to blame to a degree. Not me and you, but we are soft.
Yep.
We have these terms, hyper masculinity. What are you
Mhm.
talking about? These two boys are just wrestling. That's bonding. You when I was a teacher, you had to use non-aggressive words towards the boys when you wanted to discipline them. I said, you're gonna raise a generation of soft kids. And look at what we have now. These kids get so easily offended, and a lot of these kids, they don't know how to handle any type of actual pressure, and they just fall. And this is why you have high rates of depression, how
Mhm.
increase in violence, et cetera, et cetera. I'm listening.
I agree with you. Jordan Peterson, If you never watched him, I think he's good. Like I watch him,
I know. Oh yeah, I know Jordan Peterson. Yeah.
he mainly talks to men, but it's just interesting to me because he's big on self improvement. He talks to incels specifically, and they'll complain. Maybe they write him an email or something. I can't find a woman. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with these women? Is pretty much what they do. They point back to the women of why they can't find someone, and he goes. So none of the women in your social circle, none of the women you've ever come in contact want you. You're the common denominator. He tells them to step up. That's what dads do. That's what men do. Men look at each other and they go, man, I'm ugly. Girls don't like me. Well, dude, you're funny. Use that. Like that's how men are. I have a cousin who said that. He's like, I know I ain't the best looking, you know what I'm saying, but I know how to make a girl laugh, and they love it. He
Yeah.
didn't throw a pity party. He just found something else that he was really good at. And uh, we're we're taking the masculine voice and the masculine ideas, and we're saying that it's wrong, and you shouldn't tell people to improve. So
Yeah.
then you got this whole generation of young men who are a little awkward and don't know how to talk to girls, and in high school, go figure, and they go to a mass shooting or throw themselves in video games or whatever. It's because there's no dudes telling them to just step it up a little bit.
You're absolutely correct. Nzinga, let's go to the chat real quick. Nzinga is hitting it on the nail. Guys, please check out Nzinga's page at Nzinga Harris. She is a conservative content creator. Salute to you, Nzinga, and salute to everybody in chat. Guys, there are over 100 people in the chat, and there are only 40 something likes. I will end this MFN live stream right now if you don't get those likes up, guys. Um, Salute to everybody in the chat. Positivity is definitely coming your way. Hope all is well with you and your family. Guys, I want to let you guys know this. I always say this. Positivity is a wave within the universe. It's an energy wave. Just like, light is particles. And those particles bring happiness and joy. Just send them out to somebody. If they are on the planet Earth, they will get it instantaneously because light travels at 186,000 miles per second. But if they're on, like, let's say they're orbiting the sun, they might get it in 8 minutes. But nevertheless, send out positivity. You guys are incredibly awesome. If you're coming here, guys, please hit the like button. Please sub to the channel. This is Lapeef Politics. I am Chaotic Truth. Guys, I have Nzinga Harris on here on the ones and twos. Guys, we're talking about Second Amendment. We're talking about the Second Amendment. Nzinga has a nice way of saying 2A. I like that. And we're talking about the St. Louis shooting and other shootings. Columbine. Why didn't the government, the United States of America, why wasn't there any pressure after Columbine? I don't think people would have ever thought that there would be shootings on the scale that they are now back then. But I think that should have been a national emergency. And I don't think it was a national emergency. What do you think it was? Was there any?
It was at least big news. It's pretty
Yeah.
big. I don't know why they did it. Maybe they just thought this was a one off. Could be
Yeah.
that if we're giving them a pass, the government
Yeah.
a pass. It was this is a one off. I don't think anyone, except for your maybe people paying attention. I don't think most people saw this as an everyday thing that was going to continue to happen. Not an everyday thing. It doesn't happen that often, but I don't think they foresaw that they would be repeat offenders. But I maybe that did at least start getting us looking at the incel community and stuff like that. They blamed video games, but I mean, I've played Call of Duty and I've never wanted to
Yeah.
shoot anybody. So
Yeah.
that was kind of
I
stupid.
played
But
Ages of Empires, but I did want to conquer other countries. I ain't gonna lie to you, but go ahead and sing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, that was it. I don't know, to be honest. If you're gonna go to the nefarious side, it was.
Go ahead.
I hope this becomes a thing,
Yeah.
because then this is more of a reason to take away guns. I was looking at mass shooting myths, and one of the issues with the media, to go back to that, is that they use a fake definition of what a mass shooting is, and then what ends up happening is it makes it look like these things happen much more often than they do, which means they can use certain fake statistics to say, we got to do something about this. And that means take all the
Mm.
guns away from everybody. So on the one hand, maybe they just didn't see it being an issue.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, maybe they were hoping it would be and didn't want to do anything about it because that's more reason to take guns away from
Mm.
law-abiding citizens.
And Zinga, we talk about racial issues over here all the time on the Lapeef Network, and I do want to bring up race here. Why is there a stigma or a stereotype that mass shooters are white when in fact we know that is not the case? And you're gonna get you got like 30 more minutes maybe, and I'm pretty sure people are gonna come up now after you give your answer, because I already know what your answer is gonna be.
I don't know. I believed it one time too. I said
Yeah.
white people crazy. It's just easy to believe, and I guess we're hoping
Yeah.
that they got something too. And then, we say white folk crazy. I
Mm.
still say white folk crazy, and I say
Mm.
it to my husband when he does stuff I don't like. White folks
Yeah.
crazy. So I think it's because maybe it's partly because of the whole equity thing. We
Yeah.
can't talk about Black people in a negative way because of slavery and Jim Crow and all of that
Mm.
jazz. Instead, let's make the white person look worse. I mean, even CNN, if there is a criminal that is a
Yeah.
bit brown, they will literally Photoshop and lighten their skin. It has happened.
Really?
They keep wanting to make white people be the problem. And it's really odd because it's a lot of white people that are behind this.
Yeah. It is strange, isn't it?
Mhm.
You are a founder. Just imagine this for a minute. You're a founding father. Let's pretend. Do you pretend sometimes? You're a founding father, and somebody
Mhm.
from the future builds a time machine and goes back and say, "Hey, listen, I know some of these things don't exist, but there are going to be mass shootings 200 plus years from now in the future. I don't think that this is a good idea." If you were a founding father, what would be your answer to that? This is a weird question, but let's take it there.
Well, the founding fathers would have been like, and you hung him, right? You killed him immediately,
Oh, what do
yes.
you mean by that?
The founding fathers would not have understood why the Parkland shooter just recently didn't get the death penalty. They would have been like, what is wrong with you people? Of course you kill him. They thought that it was very normal. So one of them, I think James Madison said, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the founding fathers, but I think it's James Madison said, for in defense of the citizenry having guns, it is normal to kill a tyrant just like it's normal to hang a horse robber or kill a flea. That's justice to a founding father. So if we were to tell them that all of these things are going to happen, they would either ask about our cultural, where we are culturally, or they would say, and so you probably have several hangings a year, don't you? And you make a spectacle of them. You tar and feather their parents. That's what they would say because
And my
they
Mhm.
were tough dudes that believed in law and order. Another
Yeah.
thing is they said the law, and that includes the Constitution, is made for a moral and religious people. So we should be able. I should be able to have my AK-47 slung on me in my sling with 4 full size 30 round magazines full of woof 7.62 by 3.9, and it'd be completely normal to everyone else because I'm a moral and religious person. And unless you try to do something to me or my family or an innocent person, the trigger on this gun is never going to be pulled. That's what they thought.
When did this idea occur where it was not normal? Because I've seen videos of individuals who test the waters. They walk in, we call them metropolis, places, metropolitan areas, and the police come immediately and they question, "Oh, why are you walking around with this? Blah blah blah." When did this happen? When did it become not normal?
I know that gun control started really ramping up in the 60s.
Okay.
These folks did not want really black people to have guns. And so
Mm,
they would go back to prior I don't know what it's called. I guess I'll say judicial rulings, and they would say, "Oh, that's not what the founding fathers meant. They were talking about a militia." So
mm,
all of the uh, leftist debunks of what I say the Second Amendment means
yeah.
started in the '60s because they didn't want people that look like you and me to have guns
Mm,
because dudes like you were protecting their homes and their families from white racist Democrats. So maybe it started there, and then when laws started, so we they started to get liberal and they started to get judges that would legislate from the bench
yeah.
and all over the country, and people couldn't carry their guns like they normally could or have the same guns that their
Okay.
granddaddy had. And then you got the metropolitan areas too, who get liberal judges and liberal politicians in. And so then those people couldn't have guns. So then you go a couple of generations and you have dudes, and I say dudes because I feel like dudes should shoot guns. Then you have people that have never even held one. And so then it becomes normal not to have one. And then again, to outsource your self defense to a cop who may, by the way, cops, I've probably shot more guns than cops have, some cops. So that in and of itself doesn't make sense, but that's what I think happened.
Okay. That's a good answer. Um, a founding father would say, or no, not a founding father. You know, one of the men, liberal men that you're talking about, would say, we don't live in frontier territory. We don't have to worry about wild Indians, quote unquote, savage Indians, quote unquote. We don't have to worry about buffalo. We don't have to worry about, lawless criminals. We have cameras. We have, we have these big advanced society or communities now. What you're saying, people walking around with guns worked back in the day, but we don't want that. To a degree, do you think that a liberal, like you're saying, ones who's never shot guns, etc., to a degree, do you think they have at least a valid argument?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Because the way that they're thinking about it is like one of the students in this St. Louis shooting said
Hmm.
something to the effect of, um, I just wanted to come to school today and learn.
Yeah.
I don't want to hide in the corner. Guns don't belong in schools. As if the gun is going to jump up and strangle him.
Mm.
So my AK-47 being slung here on me is not going to jump up and slap you.
No, it's not.
Like
No.
there's a safety on it. I'm if as long as my finger is on the trigger, it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's why I say no. I don't agree. And do I want my AK-47 with me all the time? Yes, because it's like my pet. People like take their dogs to bars and stuff. That's what I want to do with my AK-47.
Oh,
I don't want to kill anybody with it, but that's why I say like no, I don't agree. We normalize all kinds of stupid, retarded stuff, and then something that's going to deter criminals, we say no. We shouldn't have
okay.
guns shouldn't be out. What is it going to do?
So, okay, that's a good answer. So let me ask you this. Well, before I ask you, I'm going to tell you I was a former school teacher for many years. Should teachers should teachers carry firearms in class during school hours? And particularly, would that have helped at this school in St. Louis?
It sounds like well. I'll answer the first question.
Okay.
I think teachers should be able to. I think that there should be a certain amount of training though, because you can have the gun on your hip all day long, but if you don't train presenting that thing, you're gonna fail and probably get yourself killed. So it's better to get them training. I say the same thing about police officers as well.
Mm.
In the case of St. Louis, if I hate to say this, but maybe if the teacher that passed had something,
Yeah.
um, she could have taken care of business. I don't know the situation or how he saw her, or, or anything like that. I don't know if she was just simply trying to get students out and then got shot in the back. Like, I don't know. But let's say it happened where they see each other and she immediately presented her gun and started firing rounds. Um, Maybe she could have gotten him even quicker than the police officers did.
Okay. Um, you got about 20 more minutes. I just want to make sure because I want to get into some tough questions here.
Hmm. Hopefully, I can answer.
I hope you can because I'm trying to word it in a way because I don't want to offend anybody. But
Because I'm still a student. I'm still reading and
do
studying.
you think that we kind of partially went over it, but we didn't actually say this, but do you feel as though the influx in, let's be honest, the rainbow community is it's there are people who are following the rainbow community because it's trending. I don't think a lot of
Mhm.
those people are actually homosexual. Do you feel as though the media constant bombardment, left agenda, the left's agenda with the homosexual community or LGBTQ community has led to mass shootings? If that makes any sense. Is there a correlation? This is a
That
tough
is
question. Maybe I
interesting.
should. Mhm.
I don't know. It seems like all the incels are can't get girls. I don't.
Okay.
I don't think
So,
so.
okay. I asked the question because I had a thought. It was a funny idea. A lot of these kids have not grown up the way that we were socialized. You're a boy, you're a girl. You do this, you do that. It's just nature. You play with, I'm going to use this weird example, but you play with Barbies, you play with cowboys and Indian, whatever,
Hmm.
you play cowboys and Indians. You wrestle, you fight. That's how you settle arguments. Girls, you're not supposed to play with the boys. I think that there's an aspect of confusion within the LGBTQ community. And I
Hmm.
feel as though these kids who have grown up with this wokeness, with this, and I'm not trying to bash the community in the interest of community guidelines on YouTube, but I feel as though these kids are being confused from all aspects of society, including the rainbow community. And I feel like that is twisting their brains up, you know. And to a degree, I think there is a correlation, in my opinion. Hopefully, I said that politically correct, but go ahead and think. You got the floor.
It could be confusion atmosphere. You talked about energy and stuff like that. I would just say like atmosphere. Um, so if you've got teachers talking about you can choose your gender and coming out to students about their sexuality or whatever, and you got all these different options now of what you can be, and you can be a pansexual, you can choose your pronouns and be demon self, demon self, and stuff like that. Maybe it just makes it doesn't, well, I'll say doesn't make, um it adds to the confusion in the public school atmosphere. But I don't know, that's just a guess.
Okay. Okay. Um, Let me ask you this. Why are countries like Japan safer than America? Is there a
On a
correlation between them not having
like
gun
gun
ownership?
violence.
Yeah. And why are
I,
countries like Switzerland have high gun ownership and less crime?
I thought the Swiss could not have weapons.
No, the Swiss have. I'm pretty sure it's Switzerland that has a high gun ownership. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure it is. Yeah.
I don't know. I know the people in Japan are depressed as hell. Um,
Ooh, yeah.
and
It's like Hikukomura culture or something like that. Yeah, I can't think of the name.
yeah, they got a whole forest for you to hang yourself. Um, I don't know. I'm the only thing I can come to is culture. Uh, they have like their men work to death. Uh, what do they work like? Probably 80 plus hours. I don't think they have time to
Hmm.
to shoot up a country or excuse me, a public place. Um, I don't know. I don't really have an answer. I don't have a full answer for that. I just know that they don't really have a whole lot of rights there. It's not as free of a country, so I think that could add to a lot of depression and anger. And then their whole life is to work. So
Let me see. Scott Harris. Oh, that's your husband, correct?
it is. I knew
He
he was going
said,
to chime in to say this because I've
Jap-
heard him talk about this before.
okay, you want to expound upon that too? What you said?
Japanese are racially homogenous and have strong collective culture. They're primed for obedience and control. Yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to get at is that they're submissive people, so they don't have freedom on the brain like Americans do. I think all of their time, like even from childhood, all of their time is taken up either from by studying, with studying, or work.
Yeah, I mean it is. They have a strong culture of work, and I think that's probably what keeps them both insane but busy.
And they've
And they
been
do have,
neutered too.
yeah.
Hmm.
Now this okay, so Jay Boss says that the Swiss are required to have weapons because they are the military. There is
Hmm.
high for people who don't know, Switzerland, according to the Business Insider, Switzerland has a stunningly high rate of gun ownership. Uh, Switzerland hasn't had a mass shooting in 21 years.
Mm.
The Swiss have strict rules for who can get a gun and take firearm training very seriously. Switzerland, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, do they have restrictions on what kind of guns the citizens can own?
So I'm looking at that and I don't see it just yet. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. If anybody in the chat can look that up. Yeah, you know what? In the interest of time, um, we'll look that up at a later date because that is very interesting. But speaking of that, what types of guns do you think should be banned? I don't
According to
think
the
we talked about that, did we?
no, we haven't.
Okay,
According to the
what's up?
Constitution, none.
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You think that an individual should own an Uzi?
Yeah.
Wow. See, I don't believe so. For some reason, I never believed that people should own automatic weapons or
Hmm.
that's an automatic. Yeah, I've never believed somebody should own an Uzi.
Well, the point of it is we're supposed to have the same thing that our military has, because if they want to uh, get cute and stand up against us, we should have the firepower to fight back against them.
Mm.
So for us to have neutered versions of M16s and stuff, like it's fine. I mean, we can fight back. I mean, the goat herders in the Middle East did a darn good job of fighting our military with
Uh-oh.
with AK-47s and inferior weaponry. But according to the Constitution, we should have everything. As a matter of fact, um, the framers, they would get letters and get requests for private from people who privately own warships and stuff. Can we use our cannons against these pirates? They keep messing with us. Like, they would point back to the Constitution and go, yeah, you can. And people think that they only had muskets. Muskets were cheaper and more available, so they had those. So it'd be like it's like when people have Glocks. Everybody has a Glock. That's in the gun community. Um, so muskets were more common because of that, but they had guns that could fire multiple rounds in
Yeah.
30 seconds. So
Yeah.
even like their own versions of grenades and stuff. So it wasn't like the founding fathers were retards and didn't know technology was going to increase. In their lifespan, they saw technology go from what they had during the Revolutionary War to guns that could shoot, I don't know, 10 rounds in 30 seconds or something like that, or less, or 6 seconds. Um, so that's why I don't agree with that ban, because now we have neutered versions of what our military has. And I mean, you've heard good old Sleepy Joe talking about, oh, you gun people think you're going to fight the military. Well, you're going to need, what was it, F-16s or whatever
I was
that
just about to
plane.
ask you that. I was going to ask you
Yeah.
that.
I mean,
Should the citizens have access to jets, right?
yeah, I think we should.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I was just about to ask you that too. Okay.
Because remember, the whole point, or not the whole point,
Yeah.
but when they were writing the Constitution, the idea was that it was for a nation of people that had morals and values,
Mm,
religion and morals. So it's like the law is written for a moral and religious people. The hope was that we would stay um, in Christianity. That was the hope. The hope was that we would stay where we feared something bigger than ourselves. So for us to use our fighter jet or our warship or our AR-15 or our M16 on innocent people, we wouldn't do it because we would fear something bigger than ourselves. So the problem is now we have to look at it through the lens of, well, now we've got these incels and we've got these homosexuals that are confused and we've got these
mm,
transgenders. So it was never supposed to be like that. I'm sure they knew that, people can be um, secular and all of that jazz. But still, there was always supposed to be something that kept a check on us that was bigger than us. And
mm.
and now we don't we have that less and less. So now people are like, well, dang, we should crack down. So now, because people don't govern themselves and tell
Yeah.
themselves no when they want to go do stupid things, now someone else has to govern us, the government. And now Joe Biden.
And Zinga, you have been an incredible guest. You are an expert on 2A or Second Amendment. I would love for you to come back again, but I do have to give you some pushback.
Mm-hmm.
You know the reason why we do need the police, the
Yeah.
military. You know why. A lot of people are stupid. And a lot of people, given the opportunity, would create their own little. It'd be a lot of vigilanteism. It'd almost be like, what is that movie from back in the day? Oh, I can't think of the name of it right now. But you have a wild, wild west situation if you didn't have the government and if you didn't have the police. You already know that. I don't want Billy Bob, who lives in a trailer. Not to say that they can't do it, but to have an F-16. I don't want Tyrone, who has an IQ of 75, to have a Uzi. That is absolutely terrifying, in my opinion. Now, I could be wrong and you could be right, or vice versa. But my take on it is this: some people need to be reported. For example, if you know that your kid is a loser, he ain't getting no coochie, he ain't socializing, you need to report your kid to some sort of, maybe some agency needs to be created, and that agency will keep the data, and they will, maybe, I don't know, give it to the FBI. At least they will say, okay, at least the parents reported him. So if he does some fly shit one day, well, the parents can't really be held responsible. But the idea of teachers having guns in classes, I don't think that, I ain't gonna lie to you, some of those kids deserve a good ass whooping, but the idea of having a loaded weapon in class, to me, I couldn't do it. That's just me though. And I see the validity in your argument. Trust me, I do. And what else was my little other pushback towards you? I think that was just that. No Uzis, no F-16s. I understand what you're saying. We have to meet the military match by match, right? We got, but the training it takes. Like, even the fact that the idea of somebody having a technology like that in a city is appalling to me. That's just me though. But go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's so
Yeah.
different than what we're used to. Yeah, that sounds extreme. It wasn't back then.
Right.
When
Yeah.
the British were talking about going to war, with the colonies, there was a lot of folks in Parliament like, like, oh, we've got this in the bag, darling. They thought they
Yeah.
had it, and then some of the Parliament members were like, these Americans are colonists. They are born with guns in their hand. They are
Yeah.
expert marksmen. So at the time, if and throughout history, if you had a weapon, whether that be a
Mm,
sword or a musket, you had to be proficient at it. So you couldn't just have it. Like
mm,
there are people that just kind of like, yeah, I went and bought a Glock, and they just keep it in the safe. They never
yeah.
train with it. They never do anything with it. Those aren't the people that I want having guns, to be honest. It's not the
Mm,
teacher that I want in school having a gun. I don't want that cop to be a
mm.
cop. Um,
If he's
the
unqualified.
yeah, the point of from the Greeks, the Romans, every empire you can think of, to up into the colonists is every man had to have a weapon in his household, kind of like the Swiss, in case something went down, you were ready. But you couldn't just have it there. You had to be good with it. And so
Mm.
if you like, there's this book I've been reading called The Second Amendment Manifesto by John Payne,
I'm gonna look that
and
up. Second
it's
Amendment Manifesto.
yeah, and it's a really good book because it gets into what the Greeks thought, the Romans thought. It gets into the 30 Years' War and the English, and how all of that went down, and the history of regular citizens owning guns was that every man had to have one, and every man needed to know how to use it well. So with that in mind, it I'm not afraid of someone having an automatic weapon because that person should know how to use it. Now, I don't know if you know this too, but this is sometimes funny if you look at like Darwin Awards for people who shoot guns and stuff like that. Sometimes
Okay.
you have some absolute retards. But
Yeah.
again, if you look at it from the lens of the founding fathers, education was different back then. They taught people how to think back then, not what to
Mm.
think. And that's what's happening now. So if we had honestly, my opinion is if we had kept in the culture of what the founding fathers lived in, we would have a much more safe society. We would have a much more armed society who are ready and know how to use their weapon. And not only that, but we would have a more moral society. So with that in mind, that's why I say what I have to say. Now we
Yeah.
do have to think like you think,
Yes.
because we have to work, unfortunately, in the crappy context that we live in. So I get what you're saying. Just
Yes.
according to history, context, and the Constitution, you should be able to own everything that a guy in special forces owns.
Wow. So your argument is sound, and it is absolutely incredible that you put it that way. You used no emotion, or you weren't
Hmm.
emotional with it. You brought logic and reasoning. And to a degree, yes, if my next door neighbor is fully capable of flying this F-16 and he's not going to destroy the city block, then
Right,
sure, why
right.
not? Thank you so much, Nzinga. I know you said that you had to roll out. Is there anything that you would like to say, though?
No,
In
just
closing?
check me out if you like what I have to say. Going to be creating more content, and I go live every Thursday at 7
Absolutely.
p.m. on YouTube, Nzinga Harris. And I'd love to have you fight me in the chats. And even today, I got challenged, so there's some things I need to
Hmm.
research. So I enjoy it and hope to see you.
Thank you so much, Nzinga. It was great talking to you. Great seeing you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chaotic.
God, oh, absolutely, guys. That was Nzinga on the ones and twos. She is an incredible Second Amendment. Um, I would say activist, content creator. She definitely specializes in that. I mean, I will be checking out the book Second Amendment Manifesto. Um, Along with a host of other books that I plan on reading. Guys, the link is dropped. If you want to call in, please let me know. You already know that this is the Lapeef Politics. You know how it gets down over here. Salute to everyone that is in the chat. Positivity. to you all. Who else do we have in the chat tonight or today? Let's see here. I want to get to everybody. I'm going to try to get to everybody real quick. We have, hold on, give me a second, guys. We got Gun Streets in the building. What's up, Gun Streets? Positivity is definitely coming your way. Guys, please let me know, how did you feel about Nzinga Harris, and what did you feel about her statements on gun rights, her advocacy for not only handguns, but her advocacy for, hey, look, technologies that are available to the military should be available to the population or the civilian population. So she says that, hey, look, man, hey, I feel as though that, and I'm paraphrasing, I feel as though that people should have the right to own an F-16, and she broke it down so good and so succinctly. The hell, I mean, I even had to fold to thinking like, damn, well, maybe that does make sense. If somebody is highly qualified, maybe they have all right to own an F-16 or maybe a tank. I do recall in the 90s, there was an individual who went crazy, and he had a tank, and he destroyed a lot of LA, but he was a madman and totally goes against what Nzinga was saying. You want somebody who's competent and who is not going to destroy. Guys, get those likes up. Please get those likes up. We got Granville Gullery in the building. Thank you so much, Granville, for being a member of the Lapeef Network. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for being here. We have Jay Boss in the building. Salute to you, Jay Boss. Positivity is definitely coming your way. Got Prime Time in the building. What's up, Prime Time? Hope all is well with you and yours. Prime Time says close to the elections. Pride Jesse, thank you so much for being here. Pride Jesse says you need ID to buy alcohol and cigarettes. How is it easy to obtain a deadly ballistics? Yeah, I believe that there should be, I think that there already is an age requirement in most states to purchase firearms. I know that in a lot of states you can be 16 and purchase a rifle. You can't purchase, obviously, a 9mm at 16, but, I would argue that there should be a mental health card or something for gun ownership. Not just an ID, but hell, man, you got to be mentally competent. Who else is in the building? We have Audie Boy. What's up, Audie Boy? Thank you so much for coming to the Lapeef Politics Show. Thank you so much. We have Sherelle in the building. Salute to you, Sherelle. Positivity is definitely coming your way. Hope all is well with you and your family. Who else do we have? We got William Graves in the building. Salute to you, William. Positivity is coming your way. Hope all is well with you and yours as well. Guys, the link is dropped, or maybe I should drop it again. Let's talk about what happened in St. Louis. If you're just coming to the stream, guys, there was a shooting in St. Louis the other day. Well, I don't want to say the other day, but it happened. What day did it happen? Oh, man. What day was that when it happened? It was on Thursday of last week, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so, a 19-year-old gunman killed 2 people and wounded several others. I thought it was 3 people. I thought it was 3 people, but nevertheless, killed 2 people and wounded several others at his former high school. He left a note saying his struggles led to a perfect storm for a mass shooter. Struggles. He was just a loser. And a lot of these mass shooters are absolutely losers. But I already, I made live streams about this before previously. I say it and I keep on saying it. If you're not properly socialized, if you are not an individual that goes through what I would say certain, life's pledge processes, then, you're not going to develop mentally. You're not going to develop, not mentally, but you're not going to develop normally. You got to get you some coochie when you're when you're 15, 16 years old. I know I'm not trying to advocate for kids to just, frolic around, but you're gonna have to pop that cherry. You gotta get some, coochie when you are a young man. You're gonna have to have, not gangs, but you're gonna have groups, man. You can't be playing video. Listen, I understand completely the the nature of society today. Hey, look, when I was a kid in the 90s, you couldn't play video games with a person across the sea. No, it was unheard of. You couldn't play. You couldn't talk instantaneously to somebody in Japan. Konnichiwa. I understand the leisure of just being in your home, but when we were kids, it was something that was beautiful about leaving your house, getting on your bike, dinos. We call them dinos back in the day. You had those little things that used to extend out, and it was beautiful. Used to go around the neighborhood, go on adventures, maybe even scrape your knee, man. But it was something beautiful about getting out and getting some fresh air and meeting new people, socializing. And what I'm telling you, man, if you're not socialized, man, as a human being, your development, it hinders, man. And a lot of these mass shooters have something in common. I can't get no coochie, I can't get any girls, okay. And then, a teacher like myself, when I was a teacher, I used to say, I'll give you a perfect example. I taught at a charter school many years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday. It was on a Saturday. We were training, we were getting the kids prepared for the state exams, and they came in on Saturday for tutoring. Now, here comes this dizzy female principal of mine, dizzy woman, liberal. She was saying, "Oh, well, how come the girls aren't playing basketball with the boys?" I said, "Look, you dizzy female." I almost called her a B. I said, "Look, you dizzy B. The girls are not supposed to mingle with the boys right now. The boys are playing basketball. I can't help the fact that the girls are just standing on the wall. Why don't you, as a woman, take them to the kitchen and show them what utensils are, show them what cleaning things are? You gotta look. Why would you put the girls with the boys? Something that they don't want to do, an activity that they don't want to play, but your dizzy mind, you can't think of nothing to do for the girls, so you're relying on me. So I'm gonna keep it real with you. See, I know, and she was older than me too. And this is what made it even more comical. See, I know what to do. I know how to make boys normal and girls normal. Boys are how, see what these boys here are doing. See, they're bonding with each other. They're pushing each other. They might even get into a little scuffle. Grab you by the, they don't have lapels, but grab you. Hey man, you fouled me too hard, man. See, but that creates bonds. That creates loyalty. That creates teamwork and effort. And sometimes you just want to knock someone out, but see, you're doing it in a place of even though it is disorderly, but it's orderly to a degree. Hey, I'm here overseeing this game. But you got the girls over there, they're just sitting there staring around. How come they're not doing jump rope or something? How girls used to do back in the day? How come they're not mingling with each other like how girls used to do back in the day? And this is why you have incel, we call them femcel girls. Same thing with some boys. I noticed it when I was in school with some boys. It was one kid, same charter school. It was one boy. His uncle was the CEO of the damn charter school. The boy was acting a fool in class. I said, "Man, sit your little ass over there and shut up." He comes to me and he says, "You know who I am?" I said, "Yeah, little mom, I do know who you are." His uncle was my fraternity brother, actually, too. I said, "I do know who you are." And here comes a dizzy, liberal female teacher. She's like, "You can't talk to him like that." You see, she's reinforcing a behavior that he shouldn't even have. And this is how you create incels. He over here, 11, 12 years old, he already acting like a, I don't want to say that word, but you already know. He's over here acting like a little bitch. And he'll grow up acting like a feminine man. You can't talk to me like that. You know who I am? See, that's what females do. See, but I know people will say that I'm crazy, right? People will say that, "Hey man, you're talking from the left field," but I'm not, man. I'm absolutely not. You see, I talk logic, and I don't, I may not deliver the package politically correct a lot of times. See, in Zinga, she's just as chaotic as I am, but see, she delivers the package nice. See, I'm not like that. See, yeah, I'm not like that. See, I call you. I don't want to say it, but see, I call it like I see it, and I'm not delivering a nice package. I can tell you exactly why there's mass shootings and school shootings. Well, how can you tell me that, chaotic? Your son's a loser, man. That's why. See, other people will say it nice. Well, maybe your son should matriculate and see and there's nothing wrong with Nzinga or anybody else's approach. There's nothing wrong with being nice and polite. But me, nah, man, your son's a loser. He's borderline about to be a Pokey, about to be a Tyrone, about to be, it could be a white boy, about to be a Billy Bob. Because he's not doing things that will develop social skills. See, when I was a kid growing up, I was always shorter than everybody. I didn't go around moping around, "Oh, I'm shorter than everybody." Nah. I said, "Hey, man, you know what? I'm about to get the most females. I'm about to at least pretend that I can knock niggas out." And that's just that's the kind of person I developed into. See, I didn't have to carry I didn't have thoughts of, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot up people, blah blah blah." No, I didn't have to do that because I developed normally as a child. I know I may come off crazy sometimes or even chaotic, but to be completely honest with you, they need people like me, like some sort of what's the word? I can't think of the word right now. I gotta start eating some more fruits and vegetables, man. I've been off a little bit. My cognition is off. You need to hire me as a consultant on things like school shootings. And let's hire Chaotic. Let's see what he has to say. Get me in a room full of a whole bunch of parents. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Your kids are losers. Flat out. I have paperwork. I have little notepads and shit. I have like notepads and stuff ready for you. One of the chapters would be why your son, reasons why your son is a potential school shooter. And I'll have asterisks under it says, here goes one of the reasons he ain't getting no coochie. Shocking, isn't it? But you have to be shocking. See, I know a lot of people are going to say, where's your stats and data and blah, 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 blah. I bet you those kids in Columbine, that little degenerate little white piece of trash, that boy in Buffalo who shot all those black folk, this school shooting here, any school shooting, I bet you. Ask them, hey, a parent of the school shooter, did he have coochie coming in and out the house when growing up? Was it little girls coming in? Was he 16, 17? Did he have a little 17-year-old girlfriend? I bet you 90% of them are going to say no. No. Now, getting coochie is not the end all be all of life. It's not. But there's things that boys have to do when they're young. I'll have a seminar with some parents. Parents forget going to a doctor, forget going to a mental health specialist. Come to me. Come to me if you think that your child is weird. And I'll tell you, hey man, that little motherfucker, that's a potential school shooter. How do you know that, Chaotic? Well, let me ask you this. How many male friends does he have? Well, he ain't really got no friends. Well, see, that's your answer right there, you dummy. He needs to have male friends. He needs to have a clique. You know what cliques are? Cliques teach you about life. It teaches you about social order, hierarchy. Why is my one friend, he's always doing this better or getting more attention? See, you start studying things. You see, I'm hanging out with my friend. He's 6'5", and he's always getting coochie. He gets more coochie than I get coochie. Maybe people like taller people just based off of looks. Okay, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do something to get more coochie than him. What do people like? Well, man, people like laughing. I'm gonna be funnier than this tall dude. See, that's how I would handle a stop the mass shooting seminar. See, that's how I do it. My son is going through a goth stage. A goth stage? Guys, when I was in high school, guys, I went to a very good high school, by the way. You know how many kids were goth? You know how many kids were playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards? You know how many kids were playing Pokemon? These 16-year-old kids. We used to look at them like, what's wrong with y'all? Now, I'm not saying that those kids would shut up to school, but that's weird. That's weird, man. Oh, they're just doing them. No. See, you're the adult. You're the adult. Playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards, that's corny shit. That's weird shit. When they come into this lunchroom, they should be mixing and mingling. They should be mixing and mingling. What's up, man? Can I ask you a question? OJJ Speed.
Give me a second, sir. I'm gonna put my earphones on.
Oh, okay.
How are you doing today?
Real good. Salute to you, sir. Positivity is definitely coming your way, man. I do have to ask you a question, Jay. Were you a goth when you were in high school back in the day?
Well, I don't know what that word means. I still ain't got my GED yet, so you got to break that word down for me, bro.
No, I was saying like it's like one of those kids in high school. They come there, they have like this witch stage, or they wear all black and they.
No, got that. We say
gothic. Yeah.
Especially in California where we at, that we call that gothic. No, I was not. I did wear black, but that's what I was born with. But I didn't put on extra black on top of it. Yeah. So no. I just wanted to come up and commend you.
Thank you.
Because today you sound more like an educator versus a provocateur.
Oh yeah,
and I like that side of you because I know it's already in you in the first place. Because there's no way you could have went into education and not have these tools that you use for our children. So look, I am a believer that there's multiple things could be happening at the same time, even in every individual. So when a person is doing something good, as well as a person is doing something I dislike, I have the same approach to commend the person when he's doing something good. So I didn't come up here to fight because I have nothing to fight, because everything I heard up to this point was on point. It was totally on point, and I like the way you eloquently spread this table and presented your case. And so, you're correct. And I don't know where the sister was going when she was talking about the Second Amendment, but you probably know the history of the Black Panthers when they went up into the state building.
Yep, with their guns.
And that's what scared a lot of people. But see, where they made a mistake, they went to the wrong building. You can't go into a building, a government building with weapons. And other than that, they have the right to bear arms, but there are certain places you can't. Like in Georgia, I have concealed license, but I can't go in where they serve alcohol or and stuff like that because alcohol and guns don't mix in the first
No, they
place. So,
don't. And I wanted to say something to her about that, but I totally forgot. Go ahead.
right.
Yeah.
So there's just certain places you are not allowed to, even if you carry a concealed weapon, that you're not allowed to take it in certain functions. But other than that, man, I've been kicking a little shit off my shoes in the YouTube street,
Yeah.
and everybody know how I come. I come straight down the middle, and people say you can't be on the middle. You got to choose a side. No, truth don't have a side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why you can go straight down the middle. And sometimes I don't like a personal approach, even when they're trying to solve a problem. But that's just the way they do it. And we all are learning. We all are learning in this. You get to the point where you can't learn. I learned from young people. I remember when the first time I told a person, I learned from a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I got something playing in the background. Let me get that off.
No, I can't even hear it, but no, you good.
Yeah, I got that case, that case Daryl
Oh,
broke.
the real, yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got that playing in the background because I did something on it last night, and
Yeah, that's a very interesting trial, man. Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. But one thing I found out about just certain parts of that trial is we got to learn how to listen to understand versus listen to combat. That lady gave him all kinds of opportunity how he could have presented evidence into the record. But he was so combative, he didn't listen because judges usually can't give you that kind of instruction how to do your case in the courtroom.
Yeah.
She was telling me, how do you know if was it printed? Did she say things that nobody else would know when she sent the letter? Did they have a name on it and stuff like that? He was so combative. He was doing street conversation, and they don't know in the court of law. And this is what we all got to learn, and that's with the Second Amendment and all that stuff. We have to learn procedures. There's procedures of the courtroom. And if you go try your case, you got to know how to conduct yourself in procedures because there's procedures how to add something into the record.
Yeah.
You got to lay the foundation for it. And that's the most important thing because that's your case itself. How much evidence can you get in? But anyway, I want to stay to your point, and I want to stay complimenting you on the way you're carrying yourself today. And I know you do a lot of that. You came up in the generation of Howard Stern like me and Rush Limbaugh, and we use shocking words sometimes to get people attention. So I do know that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is because I came up with the Rush Limbaughs and Howard Stern and the other guy who I think he was the first white guy I ever talk about relationship. He used to be out here in KFI. Tom Linkers.
Yeah,
he used to use a lot of. All these are what we call shock jocks. I've been in the radio ever since 1976 in Charlotte, North Carolina, WGIV. So I do know a little something about shock jocks. They get your attention, and they, Howard Stern always say 75% of people who listened to him hated him just to see what he was going to say next. You know what I'm saying? Muhammad Ali was the same way. Muhammad Ali would make you hate. Half of the people would hate him, and half the people would love him. And some people just go there and see him and get his ass whooped because he was a loudmouth. So I just wanted to come and comment because give you a compliment, bro. But just like I say, as much as I criticize people when they do bad, I reward them when they do something good. So you have an amazing day, and people who's listening, stay tuned because I don't believe God make mistakes. I just don't believe God make mistakes. All right, have a good day, bro.
You too, Jay. Thank you so much for coming through, guys. That was Jay's on the that was Jay's on the ones and twos, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Jay. And again, positivity is definitely coming your way to you and your family, guys. Nzinga was an incredible guest, and I hope that you guys will check her out. She's a content creator, conservative, and specializes in Second Amendment topics. Guys, these school shootings are absolutely incredible. I mean, they're insane. They're absolutely insane. And the fact that there is no declaration of a national emergency is the oddest thing. This country needs to address this issue at a high level. And I am reaching out to listen. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a liberal, but I will have to ask this liberal administration, let me solve the problem. I know what to do. Put me on a national platform. National. Not for fame, not for fortune, but to solve this problem that we are having. Not just in the schools, but random acts of violence, man. That Buffalo shooting, that was horrifying. You know, who would have imagined something like that? Or any other shooting? Let me speak to these parents of incels. I can point an incel out from a mile away. A mile away. Incels typically don't have gift of gab. Incels typically don't bathe regularly. Incels typically are not well groomed. Incels typically they're off-putting. They're in a crowd of people and they say something weird and everybody's like, huh? See, I could point out an incel a mile away, and I can because I was a teacher. Now, I'm not saying I was I was pretty cool in school, but nevertheless, I could point out an incel. And, you know, as much as people want to talk about the Tyrones and Pookies of society, they're not incels. Though violent, they're not the incels. We have to start looking out for those weird people too. That kid, listen, and I didn't even know the backstory of that kid. I kind of figured, I wonder if Nzinga knows it. And she sure as hell knew the backstory. Said the kid had no friends. And I see a lot of that. Listen, remember when we were kids, guys, anybody that's a millennial and older, man, remember the good old days of getting on your bike and I already said this earlier, but I want to expound upon it. But remember the good old days of getting on your bike and just going somewhere. I didn't know where you were going. You know, back in the day, you may have had a quarter or 50 cents and you got a little Debbie and we call it now laters. I didn't know that they were called now and later until I got to my 30s. But remember those days? There were days where my friends, remember back in the day when the worst thing that could happen to you is we didn't have phones, but you went to your friend's house and you knocked on that door and their mom or dad said, hey, he's at his cousin's house for the weekend. Oh, see, that's what it was like back in the day where we didn't care about video games. We didn't care about, you know, the internet. Internet didn't even exist the way that it does now. We cared about not seeing our friend for 2 and 3 days over the weekend, which seemed like an eternity. It was different back then. And the reason why I'm blabbing off right now is to say this. If you are a parent listening and you think that your child is an incel, don't be nice. Be shocking. Man, get your little ass up out this room and go outside and play. Man, the kids might beat me up. And stop it. See, back in the day, listen, I'm not saying that I grew up tough, but hell, even I would call them squares, but even my parents who were very professional. He hit you? Yeah. Did you hit him back? No. Get your little ass out there and whoop that little boy. See, that's the old school. It's only 30 years ago, but that's how it used to be. But now you got this, I see you in the back, O'Shea, give me a second. But now you got this generation, this participation trophy generation. You have to be kind to everybody. You can't say certain things. You're raising a generation of mass shooters. We didn't have a lot of mass shooters back in the day. I wonder why not. Oh, little Johnny could have his iPad. Please. You got you as a teacher now. Shit, try to take a phone away from a kid now. They'll kill you. But when I was a kid, you couldn't have any electronic devices in school. Even the dope boys who sold little weed bags on the side, they knew not to bring their pagers in. Oh man, I can't bring my. Tell me I'm lying. I know that none of y'all don't believe I went to school with kids like that, but yeah, kids with those pagers who came to school once a month. Man, shit, man, I can't even have my pager in here. See, even the dope boys, and there was some dope girls too, they were even intimidated back then. There was a level of respect for authority that existed back then that doesn't exist now. Tell me I'm lying if you're a teacher in the chat. Tell me I'm lying. Have you ever tried to take a phone away from even the most geekiest of kids? They'll kill you. O'Shea, let me ask you a question, sir. Are you an incel? Keep it real.
No, I am not an incel.
Okay. Did you? When was your first time getting coochie? When you were a teenager? Keep it real.
I was not a teenager. I was not. I went into it like that.
You didn't get any coochie in your teenage years.
Nope.
When did you get?
I was in my 20s since we asking.
Okay. Early 20s or late 20s, sir?
I was in my 20s, around mid 20s.
Okay. You know when I got some coochie, sir?
I'll be honest with you. I think you're gonna tell me, but really I don't care.
I was 17 years old, sir, when I first got some coochie. Now before that, I dibbled and dabbled with, breast and stuff like that. But there's a reason why I'm saying this. Mm-hmm. You see, that sexualization as a young adolescent, teenager, I was never really weird anyway, but it's a stage of development, because I was focused on the coochie. When you reach puberty, like we all do, you have that, every girl you see, like, oh man, I would just love to kiss her.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're not getting that, when you're not getting parts of the coochie, your mind starts going into other places. Then you start watching videos of animals getting killed on YouTube all day. And that's where all your frustration is going to. That's why you got these mass shooters. That boy in Buffalo, I bet you ain't never got no coochie. Never. He lived in that small little town. Parents didn't pay him no attention. And he radicalized himself by watching racist videos all day, thinking that Negroes were taking over America. We only 8% of the population. Think how stupid this is. The white boy was so stupid, he had to drive 3 hours to find Negroes. That should have told you right there. Nigga, ain't that many damn black people in the damn country, you dummy, that you got to drive 3 hours. But you haven't gone through. His parents didn't listen to me. Oh no, they didn't listen to me. Oh, there's nothing wrong with him. He's fine. It's nothing wrong with him being in his room 8-9 hours a day playing. I don't know. I don't play video games, but World of Warcraft. It is something wrong with that.
Look, I agree with you.
Trying to smack girls on the booty. Go ahead.
Look, look, I agree with that. And I play games. I've been playing games a long time, but see, I still agree with that. But even with that being said, growing up, look, I still had to go outside.
Yeah.
That wasn't no, even with me being disabled, I still had to go outside. I still had to be around people. What's that?
O'Shea, let me tell you something. I just turned 38 the other day, October 20th, man. It's my birthday. So that's probably why you guys haven't seen me in a minute.
Okay.
O'Shea, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm glad the Lord allowed you to live to see a whole another year.
I hope the Lord allows me to live to be infinite. I want to live forever, but nevertheless, thank you. I thank God that I lived this long so far. Thank you so much. Hey, let me tell you something, O'Shea. When I was a kid, man, back in the 90s, I knew my friends loved me when I walked into a classroom and one of my friends gave me sweet chin music for no reason. Bow! See? That's bonding. See, that taught me, okay, I got to be on my P's and Q's because, and then it taught me, hey, man, I got to get this nigga back. See, the good old days of ranking. See, we called it ranking where I was from. What did they call it where you're from? Playing the dozens.
Oh yeah, we played it. Oh yeah,
see,
we played it. Look. I had a sneak punch. See, I had a sneak punch. Yeah, they'll see me coming. See, look, so look, even when I was in college, look, we didn't have no mercy on none of us. They got on us many a times in the college dorm. We making up a whole bunch of noise. Look, white boys got it too. Let her play. It was about all of them. It was just what we did as guys, but it was a little tight knit little crew of ours.
We didn't call it bond. I mean, I'm sorry, we didn't call it bullying. We developed friendships from that. And the fact of the matter is that these kids aren't doing these things. Oh, he hit me, she hit me. Well, you can't do that. Go ahead.
Better take your hit like a man. And look, and be thinking about your get back. That's how that works. Look, I come up here for one simple reason, and you pretty much said it all for while I was in the back. Look, it's not that the fact that he wasn't having sex was the problem. The fact was it is his parents. Look, after the baby boomers, parents just pretty much wanted to do their own thing, let children and just give children devices and stuff and leave them alone. Just don't bother me. So now guess what? When you find a child that's somewhat that doesn't easily make friends and just keep to itself a whole lot, now you building up somebody who's gonna have some real serious issues because that parent is not parenting. That's what's happening. So when you get that and you get some little ideology crap they be watching, especially that white boy, and if they black, they get that some old crazy ideology about being a little gangster and all that. Now you got trouble.
Yeah.
Now you got some real trouble. Instead of and one of the things that I see that's bad when they have only one child.
Okay, what do you mean? Yeah, I've always thought about that. Like I've always, go ahead. I know what you're about to say.
That's not good. Because see, when you have two children, at least they keep each other company. At least they have some company there. But when you're dealing with just one child, you have to entertain that child. You have to teach that child things that maybe that other sibling would teach them. And a lot of times, parents don't have certain conversation with their children. A lot of parents don't even teach their children how to conflict resolution. They don't teach their children how to be social. They teach them some ideology of stuff that just don't go well. And when they get out in the real world, then they come to find out they can't handle what's going on. They didn't have nobody playing the dozen with them. They didn't sit there and look. Y'all can take this how you want. Bullying builds character.
It does.
It's terrorizing people that cause people to kill people. That's the trouble. Is when you get to terrorizing people. But because look, if you ever overcome being bullied, somebody picking on you, that is a step toward becoming socially adapt to how to handle things without going off the deep end with it. That's a lot of how that handled. Now, if they never get over that fact that being somebody picking on them and know how to get that get back, they're gonna bottle a lot of it and they're gonna retreat within themselves. And then the next thing you know, they get sitting in front of their computer. They're going to run across some video with people saying some crazy stuff, and it's going to resonate with them, even though that's really not them.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you have a situation like what the title is, school shooting. Make that youngin' get up out of that freaking house, out in front of their computer. Quit giving them all them electronic devices and leaving them by themselves. Sit there and talk with them.
Yeah.
Talk to them. Especially if it's the only child.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna hold you long because I don't like being long-winded.
No, you good, man.
I don't like wearing out my welcome either, so I ain't gonna sit here and hold you too long.
You're good.
Yeah, what up, Brendan? I saw you speaking to me. I got you. I'll come see you a little later
on. Is there anything else, my good sir? Go ahead.
Nope, I'm getting off.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. That was O'Shea on the ones and twos, guys. I'm gonna JR, check the DM, please, if you can. Real quick. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I have a live stream for tonight. I normally stay on a little bit longer, but I have to take care of something. If anybody else would like to call in, please do. But guys, I have a solution on gun violence. I have a solution on mass shootings. You have to look at the person who does the mass shooting. You know, the Parkland shooter, the kid who walked into that one church, the kid in Buffalo. They all have a pattern, you know. And, you know, you as a parent, you know, I know, you know, you may feel uncomfortable, but you got to tell your kids, hey, man, get out there and get you some coochie, man. See, where's those dads at? You know, if I had kids, if I had a son, you know, boy in the house, man, why are you need some money or something to go somewhere and find some coochie or something? Like, what are you doing here? No, man, we just playing video game. Man, nah, fuck that video game shit. Get your asses up out of here, man. Get up out of here, man. You got to get out there and see the world, man. You got to see the real, guys. I'm glad that everybody. For a second. Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, I'm glad. So, guys, please, let me see. Hold on for a second. Nice Glass says, just pray for the school shootings to end. Let me see. Sharon says, not all sex, not all on sex, a bunch of things all grouped together. No, oh, wait a minute. This is the last caller. I got to get up out of here after this, man. What's up, King Spark? Can I ask you a question, sir? Are you an incel? Keep it real. Keep it real. You're an incel.
No, I'm not an incel. Stop that, KF.
How old were you when you got some coochie, sir?
I was 14. 14.
Yeah, we didn't have to worry about you doing a mass shooting. Go ahead.
I was 14. So what you think about these mass shootings? Is that what you think what it is?
I think that these mass shooters all have a pattern, and that pattern is antisocial behavior. They're not acclimated into certain social groups. They're not acclimated with getting girls, and I think a lot of that has to do with these parents, man. These are just bad parents.
Okay, all right, I gotta pull your card a little bit now, okay? I gotta push back a little bit, okay? Now, why when it comes to certain, now we know how your feelings is about the folk that look like me and you.
Go ahead.
Right? And when it comes to that, you like to group them all together. But now that we're dealing with some other crazy folk, you want to take it case by case.
No, I did not say that. I didn't say that. Okay, go ahead. I didn't say that, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
I didn't say that. I said that. I literally said. And by the way, what did you feel about Nzinga? How did you like her?
You mean Queen Nzinga?
No, Nzinga, the girl who came on the show earlier for the first.
Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
You should check her out, man. But no, I literally said that all these shooters have something in common. Mm-hmm. I didn't say anything case by case. I said they all have something in common.
I'm saying you're looking at the individual, right?
No,
you're not talking about them by their race, though.
I literally said the white degenerate in Buffalo. I literally said that. Okay. It does appear that a lot of these mass shooters, not just appear, but a lot of them are white.
Right. So what do you think and I'm not to cut you off, but what do you think the
Yeah.
difference is? You know, the young black folks, we have a problem with shooting each other, right? But we have our what said be reasons, right? We blame this guy, we blame that guy, we blame that guy. And this is the reason some people say that we have the problems we have. Now, in these other communities that are, most of these guys ain't even trailer trash, are coming from privileged communities.
Go ahead, sir.
What do you think it's actually kind of, one would argue that it may be a reason young blacks are in these situations, forced in these places, economic castration, to put them in these, areas where they're making,
Well, I say this all the time. The problem in the black community is a lack of a dictator figure, and that's just abroad. Black people do better under dictatorships. I think a lot of people of color do better under dictatorships. For example, I did a show on Bukele, who is the current president of El Salvador. I think it's El Salvador, and I did it on the Lapeef Politics, and he's my age or our age, and he runs the country. I hate to say it, like a modern day dictator. Hey man, I'm good. You're not doing these things anymore. See, you got to tell people of color certain things. So I think that the reason why there's a lot of violence in the black community is because there's no strong Negro figure saying, if you litter again, we are going to imprison you. We're going to do this. We're going to fine you heavily. See, we need somebody like that. We can't. So that's one of the reasons why I believe that there's a lot of violence.
So what's going on the other side?
Now I'm going to tell you about the other side
that has the resources and whatnot.
Again, it's the socialization. When they are not socialized properly, and let's be honest, I have to admit this, blacks tend to handle bad situations better. So I've noticed that we are able to overcome certain situations, whether they're personal, better than other groups of people. And I think that with whites especially, if they are not properly developed, they go crazy. I've always believed that. And I think that's what's happening with these school shooters. Some of these kids didn't grow up with their parents. Like, they may have had two parents in the household, but their dad is working 18-hour days. Their mom may not be engaged with them. So they're in their rooms all day, and they don't have that loving, or that a lot of black kids, hey man, they could be raised with their grandma and be cool. But a lot of white kids, I've noticed, aren't like that.
So you would say in this arena, then the young black kids are outperforming the young white kids, right?
I would say that black kids, black people have a higher propensity to overcome situations that other groups of people can't. And Zinga mentioned the suicide, not villages, but forest. And you should really look this up. It's really interesting. But the suicide forest in Japan, which I've watched a lot of videos on that, and it's true. Yes, you have a peaceful culture, you have an orderly culture, but there is a certain level there's something that is missing from their culture that I guess caters towards their suicidal thoughts or their depression. Whereas black people can grow up in abject poverty in shitholes in Africa, and they could be happy as all get out. I don't know why we are like that. I've always noticed that.
You know why, chaotic?
Why is that, sir? Well,
because we're not that evil people that you suggested we were.
I never said black people, sir. I've never
don't do that,
sir. I've never said black people are evil, sir. I would never say something like that.
You lucky I don't have a thing to pull up the screen right here, because I would pop it up right here.
I never said that.
I like to hear you talk good about your people sometimes.
Well, our people are good. I think our people are the chosen people. I think that it's self-evident just looking at all you gotta do is look at the Babylonians, the ancient Egyptians, the Nubians. All you gotta do is look at ancient societies and say, wow, these Negroes, look at what they achieved.
So
and they didn't have go ahead.
How do we make sure that these young Caucasian gentlemen get socialized? What do we?
I already said it. I said
I know. I'm saying, how do we do it?
I'm gonna tell you, the government needs to hire a person like me, and they need to hire me. Put me on as a consultant, and I will consult white parents. And let's say it's a group of white parents that believe that you set up a business and you say, is your child always playing video? You make a commercial. Is your child always playing video games? Is your child, does he not have friends? You do a commercial. Then a white parent will say, yeah, I never thought about that. Johnny does play games all day and he doesn't have any friends. Then I will say, he might be a mass shooter one day. And a white parent, they're going to say, wow, damn, that Negro's probably right. And then they come to a seminar and I'm there and I'll just flat out tell them, listen, I used to be a teacher and I can tell you, his antisocial behavior is going to lead to him possibly being a mass shooter.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you believe in the censorship, like how they're censoring, YouTube, certain like platforms and whatnot?
I believe that the only platforms being censored are conservative platforms or people who are speaking things that are conservative, and I think that is the absolute tragedy of it all. They don't censor drill music,
Right. So what I'm saying is, do you think censorship with these incels that are online, being privy to certain videos or certain information, you think that would help?
No.
So they don't get the...
What would help is individuals like myself telling these parents, your child is a loser. And this is what you're going to have to do so that he or she won't be a loser. You have to turn off all electronic devices. Your child, is he paying for the cell phone bill or you? Turn off the cell phone. Make the little bastard go outside and play. Make him socialize with friends. And this ain't just for white kids. It's for all kids in America. You're how old is he? 15 now? Listen, make him get a girlfriend. It's always he has a little girlfriend around. Yeah, make sure he has a girlfriend. You have to push him into the mindset to gather coochie. You do, and I know people don't want to talk about these things, but I'm telling you,
you're right.
When I was in high school, listen,
you play
man,
hide and go get it.
Coochie.
You play hide and go get it,
man. Remember the first time
you bottle and truth or dare, double dare. You played all that.
It develops character. It develops you as I'm telling you, it does something for your cognition. Like, wow, I've accomplished something.
Right. And let me ask you one more question, Chaotic.
Go ahead.
One more question.
Go ahead.
So do you find it interesting that, you have black men that get captured, taken in by the police, and they say there's times where they get killed and they're unarmed. Do you find it interesting that the mass shootings, the killers or the suspects are always taken in custody and they like without a scratch?
King Spark, there are thousands of black men that are in the penitentiary right now who've got caught killing people. The man on trial right now, Daryl Brooks, he got caught. Their black men get caught after they've committed horrific acts just as much as whites do. I get where you're going with that, but sir, you have to also remember a lot of those whites. They say, "Hey, I'm done. I'm done. I can't,
Right." And then you're right, because on some of the ones that I watch, I see us put up a fight, unnecessary struggle sometimes.
Sir, so I've seen this before. That's true. It could be a domestic situation, whatever. The police surround the house, black. They say, sir, just please come out. Negro, come out blazing. They be like, oh, and they get the shooting too. And so, hey man, we have to. And I get what you're saying too. It does appear that a lot of times when blacks commit crimes, they get shot, and the whites they just get apprehended. But a lot of times, those whites don't put up a fight sometimes. So, or they killed. Well, whites have killed themselves a lot of the time. See, niggas ain't killing themselves.
No, you got to take. I ain't doing that. Kill me.
Yeah, I kill y'all niggas. Yeah, but go ahead, sir. But no, seriously, man. I really believe that the mass shootings can be stopped. I do agree with what Nzinga has said in terms of responsibility or responsible, intelligent people who are trained to have firearms and other technologies, which, I find kind of crazy because I wouldn't want my neighbor to have a bazooka, but if he's intelligent and he's smart, hey, okay. But I do believe that, not acquiring coochie as a young boy leads to certain antisocial behaviors, or or even being weird. I do agree with that, because society is eventually going to tell you how things actually work, and if your parent is always telling you that you're number one and you're just a great person, and just because you exist and you're 3'4", and then you notice why is Bob always getting all the coochie, but your parents are lying to you and not telling you the truth. Let me tell little Johnny why he's not getting the coochie right now. You just can't exist at 3'4". You're going to have to be funny. You're going to have to develop certain social skills so that you will get attention. But yes, taller people get automatic attention. Yes, we know that as human beings. But why don't you just be funny? Kevin Hart, Kevin Hart can have any woman he wants. He can have any woman he wants right now. He's 4'11". I don't know how tall he is, because he's fun. Right. Well, and he got money too. But any last words, King Spark? Go ahead, sir.
No. I just wanted to rap with you. I wanted to catch your show, man. Make sure I caught you, man.
Now, King Spark. No, has anyone ever told you, sir, or maybe this is just the way you look today? You look like the black dude in Menace to Society that said, "Hey, man, get that Farrakhan shit up out my ride." Remember that part?
I was that dude. Yeah, but you know what? Last time
I was gonna play in this ride, nigga.
Last time I was on here, I had on my rock shirt, and you thought I was dating a white girl, but it's okay. Just know we versatile. We versatile.
You don't date white girls?
Huh?
You don't date white girls?
Nah, I date one. I take her. I date one.
Oh, okay. I know you date.
I don't discriminate, brother.
Yeah.
I do not discriminate.
Well, I know you and every other Negro would date Scarlett Johansson. I mean, come on now. But go ahead, sir.
No, that's facts though. But I just wanted to come rap with you, man. I always want to salute to y'all, man. Y'all out here trying to have a conversation, and it's better than what most people are doing. So,
absolutely, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Shout out to you, brother. And I like to hear you. I like to hear you big up your people too. Sometimes I like.
Hey, man,
you know what?
I will always tell the truth.
It's been a change in your life here lately.
Listen, believe it or not, man.
What it is, but something.
Listen,
you must have had some sweet potato pie from the South or something that got you feeling the type of way about your people.
I will tell the truth about blacks all the time. That's my answer. And I will never sit up here and lie and say blacks are not achievers. Blacks are some of the best. The most famous scientist in America is Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he's a Negro. So, hey, man, I'm not gonna lie, man. One of my heroes growing up was Macy Jameson. She's a black astronaut. So,
Yeah. We going down to A&T homecoming this Saturday. Ronald McNair was also one of the first black astronauts from my alma mater.
Yep, I know Ronald McNair. Yeah, he died in the space shuttle Challenger. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep,
yes,
absolutely. Sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, all right, man. You have a good one, brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Guys, normally I'll be on here for hours upon hours, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave you a little bit early today. I will be back next week for 4 hours. Guys, this has been an incredible live stream, and Zinga was an incredible guest. Very intelligent, very, very refined too. She says everything that I says, but she packages it in a very nice and neat manner. See, me, I'm like a powder keg, like a bomb, But salute to you guys, man. Let me see. Jared says white people get talked down after shooting at police. Police pull up and shoot black men, and it's been documented. I don't know about that, Jared, man. Because I used to work in law enforcement, and I'm telling you, man, I don't have the stats on me right now, but I could tell you a lot of black men have been caught doing crimes and they're in jail. Like, how do you have black men in jail for murders and stuff like that? A lot of them have gotten caught in the act. And, hey, man, you caught me. Hey, man, so I don't know, Jared, but I want to broach that again the next time. That's a good conversation piece, man. Salute to you, man. Who else is in the chat? Jared said that's a lie. Wow. Okay. All right, man. Let me see who else is in the chat. Let me see. Fool says, I can't support the Coochie Save Lives movement. La Fa La Bruh is amazing, but nah. Look, man, I'm telling you, it might be some truth to that. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about it. I know, but when you are a developing boy, when you're 13, 14 and you hit puberty, man, you get stronger, you get more emotional, like, And I'm telling you, man, some nice, I don't want to sound crazy with it, but so there should be your father or somebody encouraging you to, hey man, get your little girlfriend or something, man. Settle down. Well, not settle down like married, but you're gonna have to go through that, to get that rage out. Your body is changing, like hormones. I'm not a damn doctor, guys. I can't explain it, but I'm telling you, man, when I got coochie, man, I became real chilled. Like, yeah, I mean, I never really smoked, but I became real chilled. Like when I got my first piece of, real chill, you know. Hold on for a second. Let me see who's in the chat. Jared says, have you ever seen what Tamir Rice? Yes, Tamir Rice, unfortunately, bad information. The kid is 6 foot, and he was waving a fake gun at individuals, but people don't know it's fake. But I've also seen black men get astronomical chances when they are actually doing something and the police don't do anything as well. But I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. Sharon says, yeah, I enjoyed this one. Great show. Still on the fence. I bet, man. I bet, Sharon. Not let me call you a man, but hey, guys, I'm out of here, man. I hate to leave you guys so early, but I do have to take care of a few things. Guys, it was my birthday the other night. I kicked it the whole birthday week and up and coming to the birthday. So, you guys didn't see me, but I'm back in effect, 38 years old. Guys, thank you so much, guys. Give a big shout out to JR, the Lapeef Network, Lapeef Politics. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, King, for I'm stuttering for calling in. And everybody, especially thank Nzinga for being here. She was an incredible host or co-host. Brilliant mind. Her husband, white guy, but he's like black, white, purple. The dude is also equally, this dude is super intelligent. You guys need to check them out. I know JR is gonna be a little bit pissed off me because I keep, we're not really supposed to mention other channels the way that I'm doing right now, but hey, she was a co-host though. But nevertheless, man, salute to everybody in the chat. I will hopefully see you guys on Thursday if I'm invited, so I can cause some controversy, and salute to you, man. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.